If at any point in the last month you have glanced at the Dark Souls 2 Speedrun.com leaderboards, you'll have noticed that every category in both DS2 and DS2 Scholar of the First Sin have been split into two subcategories, FPS toggling and no FPS toggling. What does this mean? What does this do? Why is the world record the same in almost all of them? These questions and more will be answered after I make the music a bit louder and put a title up. First things first, what does FPS toggling mean? Well, Dark Souls 2 on PC normally runs at a reasonably stable 60 frames per second. However, it can, on occasion, spike over that value. Runners observed that when the FPS goes over 60, parts of the game will speed up slightly, which will result in runners saving time. In order to prevent this having an impact on speedruns, all runners are required to use a piece of software called RiverTuner to keep their FPS locked at 60. However, this same software can also be used to significantly lower the game's FPS down to something like 20. At 20 FPS, multiple animations are slower than they would be at 60, which loses runners' times. So until recently, there hasn't been any real reason to bother changing your FPS mid-run. However, all that changed on the 10th of July 2021, when Sudo and I discovered this skip. Something that had been known for a while was that at 20 FPS, when jumping into certain corners, your character would sometimes get more height than usual. Until now, this was mostly a meme, but had applications in some niche categories. For example, in Betwixt Percent, we use this jump that only works at 20 FPS to skip the Fragrant Branch of Yore. This new skip made use of that additional height to get out of bounds at the top of the Dragon's Sanctum, and then used a full damage cancel spot to drop down to the entrance to Alana's arena. This could skip the entire layer of the Imperfect, and would save 1 minute and 40 seconds in all bosses speedruns. After this skip's discovery, people started looking into more FPS differences to see what effect it would have on a speedrun. Multiple minor time saves were found that utilised 20 FPS jumps, such as this jump in Iron Keep found by Jean-Martin de Bergerac, and this skip in DLC 3 that I found. However, Marchie discovered a new major effect 20 FPS had on the any% run. Marchie found that when doing the Pursuer Quick Kill, you get 3 times as many frames on which to get 17k at 20 FPS than you would at 60 FPS. 17k is a complicated glitch I don't want to talk about, so I'm not going to. All you need to know is that this discovery made the any% route a lot more consistent to run, even if it didn't actually save time over the 60 FPS route. There was, however, a divide in runners' opinions towards the 20 FPS specific glitches. Runners in the against camp argued that using 20 FPS was altering the game with external software and should not be allowed in runs. On the other hand, runners in the for camp argued that the new skips looked cool and saved time, so should be allowed. A vote was held and everyone was so split that Fleuret decided the only way to keep everyone happy was to split all the leaderboards in two. I think that explains everything. Probably bye.